Everyone, let's welcome Aaron Dalla Villa to the podcast. Yay!
Hey, what's up?
Very excited to have you here. You are an actor, an entertainer, a tap dancer. I saw in some.
Yeah. So wait, where did you find tap dancing?
Maybe not tap dancing, but definitely some awesome moves.
The dance training was definitely evident in your music video.
Oh, word! Yeah, I've got a couple moves up my sleeve. You know, a couple moves.
Very exciting, and you've been playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I have.
So that's the context of this. Of course, your video D20 is very, D&D and gaming and tabletop themed. But yeah, you've been playing some games, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm currently in a campaign, Icewind Dale. That's what we're doing, the Rime of the Frost Maiden, with the rest of the Alpha Rift cast. We play every Monday night, actually.
Oh,
how's that been going?
Yeah, it's going great. I play a Half-Orc Barbarian called Colin Half-fist. You know, he just likes to rage and smash things and stuff. So learning to be a little more tactical, but luckily one of our castmates is a druid. So I'm learning different sides, but we're having a blast, actually. Yeah, we almost died the other day, which was really scary. We had a really scary avalanche situation, but I actually dug my axe into, and I had the rest of the team attached via rope, and I rolled a d20 in the moment to save the team.
No way.
It was a clutch moment. It was really scary, and I was like, come on. And literally everyone kept failing, and all of a sudden I rolled it. D20, I literally lost my stuff. Literally. It was an awesome moment. Yeah.
Fun fact, the code name for Rime of the Frost Maiden was Avalanche.
Hey! Yeah.
We knew that would happen.
It was absolutely exhilarating, because you're in those moments where you're like, oh man, we're getting killed here, we're getting crushed, and then you have those comeback moments, and it's just so great.
It does feel good. Yeah. I also love when people name pets and D&D characters names like Colin or Ted. I just like a dog named Mike. I just love.
Not everything has to be so pretentious. The names don't have to. They can be pretty basic, and that's okay.
You don't need to have many syllables and lots of apostrophes to be a good D&D character.
No. I feel like that at that point you're just kind of trying too hard. Let the roles speak for themselves, man. Let the role speak for itself.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe if Colin is spelled with some
KH or
right.
Yeah, KHLIN. Yeah,
yes.
Colin. No, he's a simple COLIN.
Colin Half-fist.
Simple guy.
That's why he's so angry.
Yeah, I know. Why wasn't I named with a K?
I can't find my name on a pencil anywhere.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
So how long you been in this Frostmaiden campaign? About a couple of months or?
Yeah, a couple months, actually. I was on a couple months, and I just guested on another D&D podcast for 3 weeks, actually. I played another barbarian of that, and that one was based off of one of my favorite characters, God of War, Kratos.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm loving it. Yeah, we've been playing for a couple months now, and it's going great. I love it, and it's a great time for us to, stay in touch as a cast, get all the inside scoop of what's going on with the movie, so, yeah.
Yeah, so Alpha Rift sounds exactly like the kind of film where the cast would be playing D&D together.
No, what are you talking about? No, some supernatural, medieval, modern day knights taking over demons. No, not at all.
Weird how that happens.
Yeah, it's really weird, really serendipitous almost, that whole process that came about, because I'm actually doing a production of Camelot right now where I'm actually playing a knight as well. I'm playing the evil son of King Arthur, Mordred, right now, over in East Hampton. And I'm getting all this knight stuff and this supernatural stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. It's weird. I actually had dreams about being in movies like this before they happen.
What?
Yeah, I had a dream about being an Alpharif before it happened. Like I had a dream that I'd be a knight in something. And I start seeing weird things like in the script, weird little lines and stuff. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Like I had visions of doing King Arthur a play before I did it. Like literally, I had a vision of me being on stage opposite King Arthur, and then I ended up booking that.
Interesting.
It's like the opposite of manifesting. Like you're already seeing the end result as opposed to like visualizing it so that it does happen. Like your mind is already, this is happening. That's cool.
Yeah. It's I've had some weird psychic moments in my career so far. I'm not even joking. I've had some weird stuff. Yeah.
Beyond these premonition dreams that you've had?
Yeah. And literally, like I remember me and this one girl, not to get too off track, but like me and this one girl, when we got together, our energy was so kinetic that we started literally manifesting stuff that we spoke of. And we were like talking about tarot card, and all of a sudden, boom, there was like one that we passed by on the street. You know what I mean? Like it started stuff like that started happening. And I've worked with psychics before, and I've worked with Reiki people and stuff who would bring me energetically up to that level. And when you are operating on that level, because most of the world operates on a very low frequency, you start to see things, you can really manifest things. I really believe in all of that. I have crystals, I have all that stuff.
I like that stuff too.
You were primed to star in a movie like this then, and to play D&D.
100%. I was primed for all this stuff. You know, it's funny because I wasn't allowed to play D&D growing up.
Oh,
like
Greg can relate.
You know, you grow up in a very Christian environment, you know?
Yeah, very Catholic, very much like that's the devil. You're going to be calling forth the devil because you're using devils in your game.
Right, exactly. And you know, what's funny is all I play devils now. No, I'm kidding.
All tieflings all the time.
What you manifest.
Right. Actually, we have a tiefling ranger in our one of my.
And you're like, my mom would be so mad if she knew you were playing.
I spoke to her. Listen, I love my parents and stuff, but I wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter. I'm a big fan of Harry Potter now. I wasn't allowed. I was taught D&D is the devil. I play D&D now. You know, I'm starring in roles that are, you know, bad people and good people. Luckily, I play the hero in Alpharif, but the one I'm playing right now, Mordred, you know, he's very deceptive and cunning, and it's interesting how that works out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and to me, it was always strange because, you know, in most of the games that you're playing D&D, you're the good people. You're trying to defeat evil, and just because there's evil in the story doesn't mean you should shun it. You know, even that logic doesn't even like follow through. It's more like you are trying to be the good in this world, just like you are in the Christian belief system, right? So it never made any sense to me in that way. It was just more of like, you know, this fiction is wrong. It's not the right fiction. You should read the Bible, which is the right fiction.
Yeah, I agree. It's all. I just see it as a means of control. You know, it's a means of controlling people and keeping them from thinking critically and rising to, like I said, a higher state of consciousness.
Which is most D&D players are in that higher state of consciousness.
They're incredibly smart. You know, all the D&D people I've met are incredibly smart, and yeah.
That's cool. Well, I'm glad you're playing it now and getting into it.
I'm excited. I'm really in it now. You know, like and it's like a secret club almost, because when D20 came out, we were interviewed by this TV station in Philadelphia, The Filler, and all these D&D people started coming out. Like it's like a secret club, and all of a sudden we were like, and we show up to the studio and he's wearing his D&D shirt, and we're literally like, oh, we've got fans they're all around, you know what I mean? Like I found out my best friend plays D&D. I started having people on Facebook hit me up and be like, yo, low-key, I'm into D&D. Like start a campaign. Like we're doing a secret drug deal or something, you know?
Oh, that's awesome.
It's so funny. Look, I gave my brother and his partner D&D t-shirts for Christmas one year. Like they don't play D&D, but I just was home last week and one of them was wearing their D&D shirt. I'm like, it just looks so funny on you because I know like you're not a D&D person. And he was like, I can't wear this out in public because people keep stopping me and they want to talk about it and I don't know what to say.
Right. It's so, and I bet they're stopping him and they're like, oh my God, do you play as well?
Yeah,
right?
it's like really excited about it.
Isn't that an interesting dynamic that when you're an adult, D&D's cool, but back in high school, like if you played D&D, you were a dork or a
You would
loser or
never. Yeah, you would hide your D&D.
You would hide that. And now in adult life, it's cool.
I think that's been this weird, it's not just adults. I think it's this trend of people really embracing the role-playing game genre.
And fantasy, too.
And fantasy in general. I mean, you mentioned Harry Potter. I think Lord of the Rings movies by Peter Jackson did a lot to normalize this type of fandom. And we're seeing the benefits of it now, right? You know, ever since 5th edition came out in 2014, just more and more people are getting into it. I keep hearing anecdotally that people in college are playing it. It's like, I can't walk into a dorm room without somebody either, having some dice or asking me to play D&D.
Yeah, and I love how progressive the 5th edition is as well. Like really progressive. I was like the different characters and the genders, and I was like, wow. Like I was blown away, and I was really impressed by that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's been a big part of trying to appeal to as many groups as possible, right? Like there's people who love this type of fantasy play in all walks of life, all backgrounds, and it's been a big tenet of the D&D design team to try to make sure and show those characters playing together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of joking about Alpha Rift being the kind of film where the cast, of course, would play D&D together. But so do you think as, an actor and a D&D player that like it kind of feels like it's not the worst group exercise to have a group of people who are going to be working together and so closely for, a limited amount of time together to really use D&D kind of as a way to bond or, it's fast forward the friendship development.
It's fantastic. I wish, I mean, I'm working on a theater show right now, and I wish that the cast was more bonded. I wish we kind of were more of a force, a unit and stuff, because it was a very stressful process getting the show together in 2 weeks. It's a full-on production.
2 weeks, jeez.
Yeah, literally. It's a full-on production with dancing and singing and all that stuff. And it's great. It's a great show. But I think we could take things to a deeper level and get to understand each other even more through playing games like this, these role-playing games and stuff, because then you start to see people's personality by the characters they pick and the actions they take. And I've learned so much about my cast members from doing that with Alpha Rift. And I wish I had done that with other characters. I actually did that with I did this other movie called Pledge, and one of the actors in there, Zachary Bird, he's big into D&D, and he said, can we do a Pledge themed D&D thing? And I was down to do it, so I played I believe I played a rogue. Yeah, like I was, and then I was like, oh, this is really fun. I really enjoy this. Some of the other cast members were like, oh man, whatever. But like I was, as you can clearly see, like, okay, well, he's not in it. Well, that's fine. But I was really down to play it, and I think that's a great exercise for getting to know other people and also team building, because you have to work as a team.
Yeah.
Unless you're a jerk. So, like which you can be in the game. It's you have free range to try and kill your teammates if you want, but that's
But no one's gonna like you, and after that,
no one will like you. Like literally, yeah.
You won't get invited back to the gaming table, let alone the movie or the craft service table.
Nope, and you'll most likely have to provide snacks at the next meetup. So yeah,
for sure. I love that. I want more small productions or big productions to do team building around the cast with D&D.
I wonder if the D&D movie they're gonna make the cast do that. You know what I mean? Like they should. They should.
Well.
Should.
More on that later.
They're rolling some dice as we speak right now.
They're rolling some dice with casting.
Chris Pine just rolled a 20. I heard, so we're good.
Okay,
you heard, like from the next room over. He's actually there at Greg's house right now.
It's true, right? But you mentioned D20, the awesome song and music video. You were inspired to make that because of playing with your cast members in Alpha Rift?
Yeah, literally. I was so just I had so much fun playing that role that I was playing with this idea of who Nolan Parthmore is. He runs this game store in New Jersey that literally we went to this. If you ever go in Jersey, there's this game store called Tiki Tiki Games. They have every game you can imagine.
It looked like that was where you filmed that video.
Yeah,
I was going to ask where that was.
Yeah, that's one of the main locations in the movie actually as well. And it's got every game you imagine. And literally I was so taken aback by this character. I said, I gotta create a song because that's a lot what I do. I just shot a movie with someone who's on Game of Thrones, James Faulkner, and I was so impressed by the character that I came to the producers. I said, hey, can I make his music? Because he plays a musician in the movie. And they said, okay. So I helped collaborate with the musician who's doing the score. And now I have 2 songs that are going to be in that movie.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
thank you. But I'm so taken aback by these characters that I fall in love with them and I say, we have to do something. And then so Dan was like, and little did I know that one of my cast members who plays the Tiefling Ranger Grand Wolf, who actually plays we butt heads in the movie, but we're actually best friends outside of the movie. It's funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
He's like Dr. Dre. Like he's an amazing producer, music producer. So he wrote this sick beat for me and it just was born from there. And then I was on the subway and I was thinking about the chorus. I was like, that's it. You know what I mean? And then just laid it down in my apartment and we mixed and mastered it and put it out there. And Dan was like, I love it. Let's shoot the video. I said, great.
It's so funny. I love how when you become really inspired by something, you write music.
Thank you. It also came out as a result of the pandemic. You know, like the pandemic hit and the industry, TV and film was shut down. I luckily got into voiceover work. So I auditioned for voiceover stuff and animation. I've done a couple commercials and stuff, and I've been in a video game and stuff. And I also find a lot of people who do D&D do voiceover as well.
Yeah.
Look at those people from Critical Role. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I got into music and I said, I got to stay creative somehow. So I said, I was in a boy band at one time before it, fell off and broke away. Why don't I use that and see what I can do solo? So then I just started putting out all these raps that I had in my head already. And it's amazing how it's actually brought attention. You know what I mean? Like the D20 Alpha Rift tribute, the video is on its way to 100,000 views. It's got 93,000 views on YouTube right now. And it's on the Dances with Film Spotify right now, where Alpha Rift's going to be premiering at the end of this month. So it's really cool. You put the work out there and just keep putting it out there and eventually something will hit.
That's true. That's what I tell a lot of people when they're trying to figure out, like, how do I get into the game industry or how do I get into Hollywood? I'm like, I don't know, but you just
do it.
Do it.
Even I guarantee, sure, maybe, and this is such a weird industry. You'll put something out there and it hits and then you won't have anything for years.
Yeah.
Or maybe you put something out for 10 years and it doesn't hit, then you do one thing and all of a sudden, boom. So you just have to be relentless and just keep trying things and just put it out there. Like Adam Danoff, who's our DM, and he's also was our stunt coordinator on Alpha Rift. He's putting out a new game for himself.
Oh, nice.
Which is a card game that's based on fencing, and it's raised $10,000.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he just put it out there. His goal was to raise $2,000 off a Kickstarter, and he ended up raising $10,000. I mean, you have an idea, put it out there. So on that note, Alpha Rift, the game, coming soon.
All right.
You're like, I'm already designing it.
But we're already working on it, man.
I've got the music behind it already.
I've got the music behind it. You know it.
Awesome. The video, the song, everything it's so fun. It's great. Have you noticed just being surrounded by the D&D community? Have they just embraced you in their loving arms?
Luke Gygax actually played it for GaryCon.
Oh my God.
Yeah, several times during GaryCon. I sent it. I know someone who knows him. So I sent it over and I said, hey, do you think he would like this? And then he said, I love this. Can I play this for GaryCon? I said, oh my God, absolutely. You know what I mean? They've totally embraced it. I even have people on YouTube who are like, wasn't a fan of this song, but then I started listening to it more and it was great. Or another person who was like, yeah, I was watching a video on Russ and I just, every time this pops up, I have to watch the full thing because I think it's so awesome.
You do.
So, yeah, I'm in your brain now.
It does. It's very, very catchy for
It's
sure.
an earworm
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
A purple
Yep.
earworm.
Yeah.
Good one, Greg.
Huh? I can make it in D&D.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, I love that, over the course of this interview, I think I've already pegged you as like a divination wizard because of your prediction skills.
Right.
You're a barbarian on all of these streams. You're a bard because you're an
rogue.
entertainer and can sing it all through. I mean, what can't you do? You're like a
That's
quintuple
so
threat.
You're your own
That's
party.
So funny. That's so funny that you say that because my Adam, he put out something on Facebook and was like, "What D&D are you?" Then I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally a wizard." He said, "You misspelled bard." And yeah, no, I don't know. It's I really enjoy this, and I think I've learned through process of elimination, like, just based on just survival, how to continuously grow and expand and not pigeonhole yourself, because I started as a ballet dancer. I thought I was going to be a ballet dancer. I danced
Wow.
professionally with ballet companies, and then I had a slight sprained ankle. I said, what do? I'll get into acting. So then I tried that. Then I started to sing and blah, blah, blah. And then you just try to build as many skills as you can and learn as much as you can so that literally when someone casts you, they're kind of blown away by the other things you can do because
Yeah.
you want to bring so much to the table. Also, there's a lot of competition, especially today. Everything is so accessible, you can do anything these days. So I think it's really important to just have a lot of things that you can do without losing the focus of what you want. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah.
It's like building your D&D character and just
Building-
getting, trained in different skills and like picking,
Right.
I want to be good at this. I want to be good at this. I study this. I do that. But in real life, I'm not really, none of that.
What are you in real life?
Greg and I were both, we both have theater backgrounds.
Nice,
I was
nice,
a theater
nice.
major in college, and but I can't dance. Like, I had to take a ballet class because they forced us to, and the teacher actually stopped the class in the middle. All we had to do was run across the floor and leap into the air, and she
Right.
stopped, and she was like, "You," to me, "get back here and do that again." And I guess naturally when you, whatever arm is in front, that leg, the opposite leg is, well, anyway, I was the opposite of what was supposed to happen. She's like, just naturally people just do that. Like a baby would just naturally move in this way that your body is just not doing. So I was like, okay. I'm done. I'm not dancing anymore. Never danced again after that day.
I think you need to. Well, maybe you were discovering a different way to do it than her point of view.
It's like
or
art,
what she
right?
wanted.
Subjective.
It's art. It's all subjective. Maybe Shelly, I want you to take a dance class.
So I am my son was doing hip hop dance in a summer camp. I'm
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I could do some of that. And
You
he's
got to
like,
do it.
No.
No. You got to do it. Don't listen to the naysayers.
That's all I do. Greg knows that, right? Like I have one bad experience, and I'm like, I'm done. There's
Out.
other things I can.
One bad ballet
try.
teacher, and you're like,
Yeah,
But
no,
listen,
you can do
I
whatever.
also can't sing. So I'm musically just we're just gonna spectate.
Well,
and
who
be a
says you
fan.
can't? Everyone has a voice. I had the same thing. I had a dance teacher said, "Oh, you'll never be able to lift those girls." I was in musical instrument before I transitioned over to dance for the governor's school for the arts where I trained. And she said, "You're going to be able to lift those girls." And I said, "You just watch me," and then I trained and I did it.
Yeah.
And you just don't listen to them. And same with singing. I had people say, "You can't sing, you can't rap." I put out 4 songs, screw you.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, it's all subjective. Everyone talks until you show them with the work. Then you become, you do it so much that literally people can't deny you anymore.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that.
That.
I think that's it with being an actor. That's the most important thing is being resilient, you know, and just being relentlessly like that's the barbarian trait coming in. Being relentless when you're knocked down to 0 HP, saying no and shoving that fist up and coming back to 1 to win the battle.
That's the way to do it, right? I mean, there's so many barriers to entry on all of these things. You don't need to create any barriers within yourself, right? Like that's the thing that we always do.
Those are the biggest barriers. If you tell yourself, I can't do this, you won't be able to because we have so much more power than we are given. And I think that's why D&D is so empowering because it lets us live these fantasies and lets us be powerful and strong and smart that that society doesn't necessarily want us to be.
And it lets you take risks in a very safe way. Like you can just, try things that you would normally not be inclined to do in real life.
Just jump over that
not
chasm.
magic because you don't know how to cast magic.
Well, I'm not going to go jump off a building, but maybe I can learn something from, D&D character building and working with teams and being like, how do we fight this Yeti? You know, how do we go about strategizing and fighting this Yeti? It's like, okay. And then I can take those skills that I learned from that fight and then bringing into life. You know, how do I build team? How do I work with people who I don't like at moments? Or that's the biggest challenge. You know, it's not people who we like working with. It's people we don't like that we can learn the most from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. So I read something about you that was like, I'm not going to lie, I was a little disturbed. That you are a method actor.
Oh, where did you read that?
Well, I don't know if you are or you just were for that part that you played in Pledge.
Yeah, that was just for that role,
God.
Yeah.
But that was that. So you embodied this character outside of filming, that like even before filming began, and that even when you met like the parents of some of your co-stars, you were still like fully in character. Which the disturbing part is the character that you played in that movie is like, I feel like a tough character to be portraying all the time.
Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun.
Okay, cool.
because I wasn't him like on the train or at home. It was within that environment, that safe environment that was kind of his dominion. And I had talked to the filmmakers before and the producers, and they were cool with it. You know, I didn't overstep my boundaries because you have to be careful with method. You can't get into. Some people have sent miscellaneous items to their co-stars. We all know who we're talking about here. You don't cross that line, you know, especially in today's thing. You want to make people feel safe, and there are boundaries that you set. But yeah, I was totally that character, and within those safe boundaries, it was a lot of fun. It
reminded me so much of D&D. Just like I'm like, you were basically like you were portraying your character, and you were just embodied in the role play. I just thought that was really cool. But the character.
I'll show up with I have a cloak that I wear sometime Monday nights. You know, I have a cloak and I use Snapchat filters. Every time I rage, I do a Snapchat filter that gives me like this Viking helmet and beard, and it's amazing.
Nice.
And it's just fun. It's fun. Like cosplay is a huge thing. I love Comic-Con, and I can't wait for us to take Alpha Rift and D20 to the Comic-Cons when they open back up.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you find that actually putting on the costume and embodying it in that way like changes your performance?
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. I don't fully know who the character is in anything that I'm doing until I put on the full wardrobe. Like I'm playing Mordred right now in this Camelot thing, and I didn't know who he was until I put on his wardrobe, and his wardrobe is very Assassin's Creed. And I put it on and I'm like, oh, this is him. Because that is the way the world perceives you, your wardrobe and all that stuff. And that helps you kind of blend into that mindset. I think Sir Ian McKellen was talking about this as Gandalf. He didn't really know till he put on the thing, and all of a sudden he was like, "Oh, there he is." Same with Nolan Parthmore in Alpha Rift. I didn't know what he was, and all of a sudden I put on, the choose your weapon shirt and my hoodie and my watch and spiked my hair. Then I was like, "Oh, he's kind of like Marty McFly." So yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what's
see that.
lost on some people where, they don't necessarily wear a costume piece or anything when they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. And, I've heard from folks in the community that sometimes they think that's only for show. It's only for if you're doing a streamed game or something like that, and they might disparage it. But I think those type of affectations, whether they're, elf ears or, any type of thing that can just draw out some of the characteristics of a character, just allows you to just embody it so much more. It almost adds that a little bit of artifice to the role playing. And so you're not just rolling dice and killing monsters. You actually do end up having to make some choices as a character versus, sometimes the strategy game that people end up playing.
Totally agree. It puts you in that world and also helps with your own self-expression. If you want to do it, then do it, But I feel like sometimes because of society, we're not accepted to walk around with elf ears unless it's like, oh, you're specifically going to Comic-Con or you're specifically Halloween. Like, then it's socially acceptable. If you want to wear elf ears any day of the week, do it. Who cares?
We should all method act our characters.
We should all method act our characters and just walk around with a two-handed axe. I'll see how long that lasts in New York. But no, not to that extent. But yeah, like if you want to for playing, then go for it.
In some ways, we all do that, right? Isn't that what we do when we choose our wardrobes for ourselves?
Yeah, when you go to a job interview, you're
ourselves.
cosplaying that you're professional and put on a tie and you're acting more reserved. And we're always acting. Everyone's always acting.
I worked at this theater, New York Theater Workshop in New York, and I was a carpenter, and so I was hanging out with more of the tech side of folks. And
love the tech guys.
I was wearing a brimmed hat. It wasn't like a big wide brimmed hat like a Gandalf thing, but it was like a smaller one, and I was just wearing it that day, and I would wear it, 2 or 3 times a week. And the technical director there, he was a cool guy. He went, he was a performer in some ways, and he did some clowning and things like that. But he was always like, man, I just don't like people who wear hats. I always think that you're just you're just putting it on, like then all of a sudden you're like a hat guy. And I'm like, yeah, how is that different from life, dude? Like, I mean, we have a coworker who rides his bike every day. Like, that's his identity. He's always got his bike with him. Like, what's the difference about me wearing a hat? He's like, I don't know. I just don't like it. And and what you're just saying is like that exact same thing. It's like some people, we just make choices and it is who we are. And that's no different than the person who wears D&D t-shirts all the time,
100%. And you know what? That guy probably was attacked by a bunch of hats when he was 7 years old. And he probably was at like a lid store and he like went to reach for a hat and they all fell on him and now he's got a fear of hats, We don't know people's psyche. We don't know.
He was jealous, or somebody told him one day, you know what, you actually don't look good in hats.
Right.
And so he just was like, you know what, I don't look good in hats. I hate people who wear hats.
I love that we've created 2 separate backstories from this one little anecdote.
And there you go, 2 separate backstories.
Great exercise.
Different interpretation of the character, You get 12 people, they're going to interpret it 12 different ways.
I love that. I love that too, and I think it's something that we bring. I mean, I think that's what makes us more healthy as D&D players in some ways, is that we can wear, the more metaphorical different hats when you're playing a barbarian, you're playing a bard, you're playing a wizard. You get to show different parts of your personality that don't necessarily get, to be out in the light of day.
100%. And you have more freedom because there's no pressure. There's no pressure. You're not trying to uphold yourself. You're literally just playing. And if we could adopt that to real life and find ways to take life less seriously and more playful, I think we'd be much happier as a society.
I agree. 100%.
Spreading the good word.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the gospel of D&D here.
Listen, the reality is we're all going to die one day.
It's true.
It's going to happen, so you might as well enjoy while you're here.
We are food
And I have to keep
for worms.
reminding myself that because I'll be complaining about stupid stuff, first world problems,
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
Do you remember in your life, like when you were told to stop playing? Like when it was like, and I don't, I think about this a lot though, like at some point, like just you're told to go play, go do something, use your imagination, and then at another point right after, it seems like it switches and it's like, stop playing, like be like, now you have to be serious, and you're acting like a child, and like, but you just told me yesterday to go play. Like at what point does it change that like we're told to stop playing, to stop using our imagination, to like stop living in a fantasy world, all of these phrases I've heard people say.
I think it's the older we get, it's easy to become more pessimistic about life because our eyes start to open up and start to see reality. And I think a lot of people can become very bitter by the things that have happened to them. And that's why I think it's important for people to go out and play D&D, play games, take an acting class, take a dance class, do something artistic, something playful to remind themselves to enjoy life. But I would say the age that me personally that happened was, I remember one time I was dancing and my brother was like, stop dancing everywhere and stuff. I just kept dancing. I danced more. You know what I mean? Can't put me in a corner, Matthew. I'm gonna dance. Dance is gonna dance. I just want to dance,
Nobody puts Aaron in a corner.
No one puts me in a corner, man. You don't hold me. You don't control me. You let me.
I actually went to Footloose. You guys both went to Dirty Dancing.
I'm working with the original. I'm working with the original Ren from Footloose actually right now.
No way.
King Arthur. Yeah, Jeremy Kushner.
Oh my God.
He's our King Arthur, so I work opposite him every night. Yeah, it's really, really awesome. He's phenomenal.
That's cool. So yeah, you're based in New York City, right?
Yeah.
And this play is in the Hamptons, you said?
Yeah. So I'm actually on my off day coming into the city, take care of some business, do some ADR work for a show after this, and then headed back out to the Hamptons for 2.5 more weeks.
Wow.
How nice.
That's awesome. How are they?
In person, like with audiences and everything?
In person with audiences. They're masked. It's like live theater again. It's really cool.
Wow. Fantastic. I love that you're doing a Camelot too. Like that's such a
I
fun
never
show.
thought I would do Camelot, and it's a modern version of Camelot, which is really cool because I don't know if you can tell, I'm very contemporary. I'm very contemporary. Yeah, it's really cool. I never thought when I got this audition, I was like, Camelot? Really? All right. Everyone in the cast says that actually. They're like, I never thought in a million years I'd do Camelot, but yeah.
Right, especially after Spamalot, it feels like a parody of Camelot is going to be more successful than the actual thing.
Who knows, man? Yeah, but it's actually been selling really well, man.
And it's a modern staging, you said? Is it like
it's a modern staging. It definitely has its roots in the original. Julie Andrews came and saw our show. Dame Julie Andrews.
What?
Yeah, got to meet Dame Julie Andrews. Richard Kind was there. The director is Scott Schwartz, and his dad, Steven Schwartz, came and saw the show. And, so we've had some really amazing people come to see it and love it. So
wow.
That's nice to get that validation, because it's like, what are we doing over here? Is it good?
Right? But Mary Poppins likes it, so you should be good.
Yeah, what are the odds, man?
What was that like? I mean, she's my kids have gotten into Sound of Music and Mary Poppins over the last pandemic time. So what's that like seeing her?
Well, her granddaughter is actually in the cast. So
no way.
She's really making her proud. It was when you meet these people that you've seen on TV and film and stuff, it's very surreal, and especially someone of her caliber and stuff. But you're also reminded that they're just people, you know what I mean? Amazing people, but they're just people. And she's very grounded, and she just had nothing but great things to say about the show. And it was really interesting to hear her experience about the show because we were like in this rush to get the show together in 2 weeks and it was a little stressful. She talked about how it took 3 directors before opening night. Like literally one had a heart attack and something else. And I'm like, is the show cursed or something? You know what I mean? So it was really cool to hear that from her. And apparently in the show, not in our version, because we're doing the learner and low version, which is condensed. Their version is 4 hours long.
Oosh.
Ours is only 2, thank God. And apparently in their show, they had live animals that would like take a crap on the stage.
Oh my god.
And they had to like step over the crap. And this is Broadway, guys, you know, like literally there's crap on the stage and literally they're having to step over the crap. And it's like, oh man. Yeah. So everyone laughed at that part. So,
I mean, I love what you said though. Like they are just people, and it's something that people, you know, you don't, you know, every once in a while we'll interview folks for, you know, like we're interviewing you, and people are like, oh man, what's Aaron Dalla Villa like? And I'm like, well, he's just a person, you know, he's just a D&D fan.
Yeah, I'm just a person, man, who just honestly, the interviews and the red carpet and stuff, that's 5%. You want to know? Most of my time is spent in my room working on the script. You know, because the work is in the audition, the work is in the audition and the training and the classes. The vacation is in the book job. The vacation is in being able to come on Dragon Talk. The vacation is in the press. You know what I mean? So that is the reaping what you sow sort of thing. Yeah, I'm just a hard worker.
Love that. I love that.
And it shows.
Oh, thank you.
I think more D&D people who, I'm sorry, Shelley, go ahead.
Nope, you go.
I was just going to say, you know, I mean, I think that's something that we can, you know, bring to the community, right? The D&D community, right? Like that everybody is just putting in the work and making sure that it's, you know, accessible for everyone and getting work out there and you know, trying to shine a light on why this is important for folks is what everyone is trying to do. So I, you know, commend you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think at the end of the day, everyone just wants to have a good game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, however they go about doing that, they just want to have a good game. So.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, Shelley, about this poster that's in your apartment. What is this, a squid? What's going on over here?
Which the pink
elephant?
He's an
that's an elephant.
Here.
Got
It's a pink elephant.
That is amazing. Did you do that?
No.
Oh, that's amazing.
I didn't, and I feel a lot of people ask, "Did you paint that?
Do they
where'd
say
you get that?" And I'm embarrassed to say, I bought it at Ross.
Hey, Ross, just for less. But I like the hustle signs.
Thank you very much. Yes, I love elephants. They're like, you know, they just make me happy.
Nice.
So I was going to ask you about DMing. Is that something that you do as well, or do you mostly take on the role of player?
I mostly take on the role player. You know, I will DM a game, but mostly role playing right now.
Yeah.
But actually is DMing. Our DM's amazing. He's able to do so many characters. You're able to do so many. He'll throw on accents too. He's amazing. He's an amazing actor.
It's a good role for an actor. For that reason.
Yeah. Especially a voice actor, right? You can just put on different
voices and play them and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And then you get to be the bad guy, right? So like, I mean, I assume in Pledge you were one of the bad guys, right? And
no, not at all. Me the bad guy. No. Not at all.
But that's a way to, I mean, like I said, everyone is playing the hero generally, but then you can flex those muscles with a villain sometimes while dungeon mastering, which is super fun.
Well, yeah, and also especially when you're playing villains, you're always the hero of your story. You're not you're not a villain. You're the hero of your story. You think that what you're doing is right. You know, Max was basically doing those things because he was trying to get the approval of his father and of the Crypteia so that he could get into the Crypteia and into that secret society and have the life that was promised to him. So the whole thing was, in order to get into the Crypteia, you have to treat these people like absolute less than human dog dirt and sacrifice them.
Spoiler alert.
But now we know his motivation, so it's not that bad.
Spoiler alert! Yeah, no, like especially with Mordred, you're playing these despicable characters, and I'm trying to find ways to humanize him.
Yeah.
And I really found a way to humanize him, that he comes in for the love of his father, and he doesn't get it. And you see this guy, King Arthur, who's this perfect king who won't even love his bastard son, but chooses to love Lancelot, who's this random knight who's sleeping with his wife. And literally you're like, well, this is BS. So then you turn his kingdom against him, and his actions feel warranted. They feel justified. So I've worked that, as opposed to coming in and being like, I'm the bad guy.
Twirl my mustache at you.
Yeah, which, I look back on my work in Pledge. Listen, I'm never satisfied about the work I do. I can always nitpick it apart, but it is what it is. It's something for me to look back and say, yeah, that was what I did at that time, and I've learned from that experience. Like that, I go back to Pledge, and there are moments in Pledge where I'm like, I wish I played this moment differently, but that's all part of the growing experience. Kind of like D&D, like, oh man, I wish I didn't do that move, wish we didn't go there, kind of thing,
I rolled the one.
Yeah.
Wish I'd not done that.
Rolling a natural one is never good, man. Especially in the worst moment. We got attacked by a group of goblins. And I just kept rolling bad, man. It was just awful. And my buddy was using the dice rolling app. I said, what are you doing using a dice rolling app, man? Get some dice.
Don't you know those things are rigged, man?
We all have dice, by the way. Just making sure that I make that clear. We all have dice. But yeah, literally, he's on the dice rolling app. I said, what are you doing, man? We need you.
You're
messing
something
with the randomness of the world.
Yeah, there's just something about the rolling, the physical, hearing them hit the table and just waiting to see what comes up.
Yeah, and I got a dice tower now, so.
Oh, even
nice
better.
clickety clackety.
Oh yeah, I love it. I got a dice tower. It's nice. I like to pour myself a little pomegranate juice, get a little snack, and put on my cape and let's play some D&D.
Yeah.
I can turn the lights down and like make it purple in my room, and put on like this weird like blue with green around my part to make it look like stars on my wall. Yeah.
In the pandemic, sometimes you need to go to a fanciful whole new world.
Always, man, because you got to keep that creative center open. That we were talking about, when do you lose being a kid? There's this gland that we have in our brains called the pineal gland. It's a pine cone shape. And if you foster it through meditation and artistic sensibilities and stuff, you'll stay more creative and intuitive. I really believe in this stuff, in the chakras and energy crystals and stuff. I've had some weird divine moments, weird stuff. Like I had a vision about me going to a festival in Los Angeles, and little did I know that 2 films I have coming out are going to the same festival, going to the same venue, different festivals in Los Angeles. Alpha Rift will be premiering at Dances with Films at the end of August, and then that movie that night will be premiering at TCL Chinese Theaters in either September or early October. And I had a vision of me walking into that venue again. Call me crazy. Call me crazy.
I won't.
Listen, some people do. Some people are like, oh, he's crazy, whatever and stuff. But that just means they're not taking the time to try to understand me. I'm just a guy with a lot of energy.
I love all of that. Crystals, the energy, vision board. I am staring at my vision board right now.
Nice.
Shout out to vision boards.
So I have visited many psychics. I love them. My mom had like a lot of psychic energy. Like she was also like you with the visions, and just like she would just be like, I wonder how Gal is, and then the phone would ring and she was like, that's Gal. I just like, she would just know those things like that. But I get a sense this is my thing. I know when somebody's pregnant. I don't know why. I don't know how. Like I will just like be talking to someone and I'm like, oh, they're going to have a baby. And then I will find out a few weeks later, they're like, guess what? We're pregnant. And I'm like, I know that. This has happened to me dozens and dozens of times. It just pops into my head. I'm like, that person's pregnant. And I don't have 100% confirmation because sometimes I never see that person again. I don't know if they really were, but I get a feeling, and I feel very confident. They're pregnant.
Nice.
That's the only thing I can divine about people.
Nice.
Are you getting a sense about me right now?
It's not, Greg,
Wow.
we need to talk. I got some news for you.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is
Yep.
not the only man who can be pregnant.
Right. I'm also really good at telling if people like coffee. You know, like I can tell if people like coffee. Like literally, I walk into a Starbucks and I'm able to tell immediately, like
whoa, this place is filled with coffee lovers. Yes, my
Actually, I like
visions-
tea only. I only come in here for the tea.
That's amazing though. That's amazing.
I like
though.
their breakfast sandwiches too.
They're very good.
No, these are vision. This is a feeling I get. There you go.
He's got the breakfast sandwich ready to go.
Before the person is showing, I'm not like actually like hanging out at a pee in the pod in the mall and being like, I got a feeling.
I can see you in the stall, like hiding out in the women's bathroom, like jumping over the stall, being like, "Hey, you pregnant?"
I got a surprise. You're not gonna believe this. I just have a feeling.
Oh my god!
You're gonna have a baby.
That's a scene in a comedy show right there.
That
Hey,
is.
you're pregnant. Like,
Guess what?
I just get these
I'm
feelings. They're picking out
Yeah.
baby clothes.
Yeah. Heading into their OB
Ultrasound.
office. I'm like, guess what? This is so weird. Just have a feeling. Once I went to see a psychic, and prior to that, my mom took me to like Macy's or something, and I sprayed myself with perfume for some reason. And then we were at a psychic fair, and the psychic I got was allergic to perfume. And she was like, oh God. Oh. And I didn't want her to like stop the reading. And she goes, are you wearing perfume? And I said, no. And I am like 5 inches away from her, and I am covered in like tea rose perfume. And I was like, no, I'm not at all. And then she eventually like did have to just leave and cut the reading short. And my mom was like, you lied to us, psychic. Like, you can't do that.
I want to know what the reading said, though. Like, did perfume just keep coming up in the reading?
I don't like,
Or being a liar.
or being
Right,
a big.
being a
You're
li-
a big.
right,
I'm
being a
getting a
liar.
sense that nothing
getting a
about you
sense-
is true.
You're a
just a-
deceptive person.
How does she know? How does she know? And at
feel
that
like-
point, you just have to keep lying.
Yeah, no, that's not. You must be picking up on someone else's vibe, not me. Nope.
You know what that
Keep
sounds like?
reading.
That sounds like a D&D group trying to convince a guard that they're not going to do anything
And just rolling
untoward
a
in the village.
on the deception check.
Man.
Nope. Yeah, we're good. We're good here.
Yeah, been
Well,
there.
Aaron, I'm very excited you were able to come in while you were rehearsing for Camelot. That's really exciting. We talked about so many cool things that you're doing. What's a good place for everybody to go check out all the fun stuff?
Oh man, at my Instagram is the best thing to follow me. It's at Aaron Dalla Villa. Check out the D20 music video. Just look up D20 Alpha Rift Tribute on YouTube. And check out Alpha Rift, alpharift.com. Those are the three best things.
All
can't
right.
wait.
And that's going to be debuting on August 31st.
Yeah, so August 31st for Dances with Films Festival at the TCL Chinese Theaters. Tickets are available now, so you go on alpharift.com. You'll be able to see both the D20 music video and a teaser trailer for for Alpha Rift, as well as a link to get tickets. And it will be coming out later this year. You will be able to see it.
Very
as
sweet.
well.
That's awesome, man.
Looking
And have
forward
fun. If anybody's in Long Island, go see Camelot in Bridgehampton.
Yeah, Bridgehampton.
What?
You might see Julie Andrews too.
Hey, you might see Julie Andrews. That's right, man. You never know.
Big fan.
We're still
Julie
trying
Andrews
to get
and Richard Kind
Burt-
approved.
No. Yeah, right.
Oh,
That's so great.
amazing.
Awesome, man. Well, great talking to you. Go ahead.
You know, it's real quick. In the show Camelot, they talks about how Merlin turns Arthur into a hawk.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a hawk shows up to our set.
Stop it.
I'm not even kidding. Like literally, we're doing an outdoor space, right? So it's an outdoor theater space. It's like we're like an outdoor with lights, and then when it gets dark, it's beautiful, and you see the moon and stuff. There's a hawk that literally shows up, and it's like landed on our set and been in the trees and has watched our show several times. Like, yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
Merlin. Merlin is watching our show.
People in the audience are like, these props are amazing.
I know, but someone actually said that. They're like, did you hire an animal to fly off at the top of the show? And they're like, no, that's just Merlin. He just shows up sometimes.
Oh, no, he's a big fan.
I think
Oh,
you got
that's
a
so
druid.
cool.
You got a druid in your cast.
So cool, man.
Yeah, wild shaping into
Real
hawk.
magic.
Real magic going on, Well, I think that's what we do as artists, or D&D players. We really create that sort of, when we open ourselves and we're vulnerable and community, we can create real magic. I really believe that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially in a place like that. I mean, how cool is it to have its outdoor space? You can kind of suspend your disbelief even more, and create that magical storytelling that you can only really have in a theater. That's amazing, dude. I can't wait.
I love it, man. Thank you.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, dude. Well, awesome stuff. Keep rolling, and we'll get you behind the DM screen sooner or later.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Greg, Shelley, thank you so much for having me. This was
Thank
great.
you for being here. It's been great talking to you.